Hey everyone, welcome back to some Real Feel Fishing. Today's episode is going to be about topwater fishing. And right now it is the middle of May, and from here on out I will have these three rods in my car until probably about November 1st. By now you all should know that I am a huge topwater fanatic. Everything in topwater is awesome. I'll throw ducks, bats, all the different whopper ploppers, any type of frog, mice, anything. It's just fun to me. So the first one I'm going to show you is my heavy stick. This is my frogging stick. This basically right here is a Mojo Bass St. Croix 7.4 heavy fast action. This is their slop and frog rod. I only use this for frogging. Sometimes I'll throw the mouse on there and, I guess the duck sometimes. But that's got a Abu Garcia Revo X 7:3:1 to gear ratio reel on there. What's most important is this rod, though, and the line. Those are the two more important things in this situation. You want a rod with a lot of backbone to it. You can get away with a medium heavy for sure, but you're going to want braid that is, I'd say 50-pound test or higher. I use 65-pound. And basically what that does when you combine both of those, the line and the rod, there's no stretch, and basically it's just a lot of backbone to give a nice hook set and to be able to pull that fish through the thick mats or heavy vegetation or lily pads, whatever you're fishing. So that right there is what is most important, and that's why I say this rod is not common knowledge, but it's a lot of people should know you need a big heavy rod or a medium heavy when you're going frogging. So that is my setup for frog fishing, and a couple tricks that I learned over the years about frog fishing. When you get a frog right out of the box from the store, the legs you're going to notice are usually really, really long. You don't want that. And basically what happens is sometimes the fish will strike the legs and miss the bait completely. So you kind of want to shorten the profile a little bit, but not too much. You want to make it proportional. So what I've learned is basically fold the tail or the legs over, and when I'm using a mouse it is the tail, but fold the legs over like this, and at this point you got something that looks like this, but out of the box these legs are going to be down here. So you just cut it with some scissors and line up so that they're as long as the body, or really close to as long as the body, to make it look actually more proportional like a frog. And cutting them straight sometimes makes a difference too, or keeping them as straight as possible. So that's going to increase hookups right off the bat, to be honest with you. But then another thing too is sometimes these hooks are bent not where you really want them when they come out of the box. So another trick too that I learned is just take some pliers and tweak them a little bit. Don't put them up too high, because then you're going to catch all that vegetation and you're going to get hung up a lot. But give them a little tweak to, again, increase your hookup ratio, so the fish doesn't have to bite completely down. They just can sometimes bite it a little bit, and these hooks are arched a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? So that's helped me big time. And then there's also trailer hooks that you could throw on there too if you're having a real hard time. Sometimes I throw those on there, and believe me, I catch stuff on that trailer hook. But those are some ideas that I do right away every time I buy a new frog. Just, maybe that could help you out. So that is my frogging setup. My next setup is the middle of the road one, and this one might be a little bit more controversial, whereas the last one you kind of want to keep it in the same ballpark. This one is way off, I think, but it works best for me, and it could work for you. And hey, in the comments let me know if this is something that you use as well. So again, this is a St. Croix Mojo Bass. This is the 7.1 medium power fast action. This is actually their plastics rod. But when I did some research, their topwater Mojo Bass is the same exact rod, but a 6.8. So this is a 7.1. I fish from the banks a lot, so I figured getting a little extra length is not bad since they're both a medium power rod. And maybe their topwater one's an extra fast, but either way, they're both mediums, so I figured, why not? And this works really well for me. And again, I have an Abu Garcia Revo X 7.3-1. It works best for me. It might not be the best for topwater, but what works though is this rod and this line again. So on here I have 20-pound braid, and basically what that does is I have a little bit more bend on the rod and no stretch on the line. So with trebles, usually, you know, with straight braid, sometimes I might rip trebles out of fish's mouth, but honestly, I don't have that problem with this. So when you get into like a medium heavy topwater rod, you might want to do monofilament. I've talked to a bunch of people. One of my good friends in particular, I believe he uses monofilament, but with a medium heavy. So that's the thing. Medium heavy monofilament, more stretch on the line, less bend on the rod. Whereas this is more bend on the rod, less stretch on the line, or no stretch at all. So you're in that middle of the road where you can go either way, and this is the way that I go. I'm a straight braid guy. I love it. I never have to put a leader on there, and it works great for whopper plopper 90s, walking baits, anything in that like half-ounce range. Once you get into the whopper plopper 75s, though, I noticed they're 3/4 of ounce, so they're a little too heavy for this. You might need a medium heavy rod. It just kind of doesn't work as well. I still use it sometimes, but this is for around those like half-ounce baits, and it works great. So that is my middle of the road one, and that's why I say there's a little more controversy behind this one, I guess. And I'm not really even saying controversy because this might work for some other people too. It works great for me for topwater. So those are my two rods so far, and then the last one is the lightest rod. It is a 7.2 medium light, extra fast action, and this is the Bass Pro Carbon Light 2.0. And I just got it with a Shimano Nasi 2500. It's almost the smallest profile reel for that line. So it's got 10-pound braid, which is kind of important. And I use the little tiny 1/4 ounce whopper ploppers. These are the 60s. And I also use, smaller poppers like some of the Rebels, and then some other smaller 1/4 ounce topwater stuff. And I use this in the creeks all the time. And why it's so good is because in a pinch you can flip over to a Ned rig, and you don't even need to tie a leader on or nothing like that. And it works great for Ned rigging too. So with the extra fast tip, the 10-pound braid, it's the same situation as the middle of the road rod, where you have no stretch on the line but way more bend on the rod. So for those smallies, those aggressive strikes, it's almost like a soft, like they smash it, but then like when you load up onto it, it bends perfect to where it doesn't rip out of their lip, and it just has been working great for me in the creeks. I used to use this in the creeks. Now I pretty much just using this rivers and ponds and things like that. But this is like my go-to creek setup now. I almost don't even have to bring anything else. Because like I said, in a pinch you could throw a Ned rig on there and be fine. You could put an inline spinner on there and be fine. The diameter is so thin on the 10-pound braid that there's no way that a fish is going to be line shy towards that. And it's perfect for topwater because it floats its braid. So that is the one that I found as of late makes the most sense, believe it or not. And it's just a great setup. So those are my 3 topwater rods. That is my arsenal. One other thing too that I learned about these little 60s is that coming out of the box, they come with this extra split ring on there. And what I've been having happen a lot is that the body is like turning while you're burning it really fast. So when you take that off and have a direct tie, it kind of prevents that, and prevents twisting and things like that. So I have one on, have one off. I've been going back and forth. I feel like I'm going to just go to this where I take that off right out of the box. So that's another tip that might help you with the 60s if you guys are into that type of thing. And this is just whopper plopper. So, but yeah, those are my 3 rods. Those are my 3 setups. And I can't wait to start getting some topwater fish. So If you have any questions or comments or anything like that, please leave a comment. I want to hear from you. And if you like this, hit the thumbs up. That'd be awesome. And if you are new here and made it to the end and you haven't subscribed yet, think about that. Consider. I have a bunch of topwater videos that you can go check out and get your fix before the topwater season starts up here in the North Country. So thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Thank you very much, and tight lines.